In the previous video we have learned how to start AutoCAD software, how to create the template in the AutoCAD software. We have discussed in the last video. So in this video we will be learning about what is the user interface, how to know all the commands we will be learning in this video. So before starting you have to check that whether you have selected all the customization tools are have a tick mark or not. You have to select initially. If it has a tick mark, you can see bottom all the customization tools you can see here. Okay, if you see this one, it is on. If it is not in a blue color, it is off. Okay, depend upon situation, you shouldn't on all the features at a time. Okay, so first one is the coordinate system. So drawing coordinates, shortcut is Control plus I. So whenever I place my cursor here, so it will show that this point is X direction 240, Y direction 28, and Z direction it is 0, because it is a two-dimensional object, two-dimensional 2D drawing we are making, so that we will have only X and Y coordinates. So whenever I am moving my cursor, you can see that the coordinates is moving. Okay, so next is the model space. So here we are creating the model space, whether it is like a paper or layout 1, layout 2, depend upon. So default will click on model. Okay, so that you can see the model here. Okay, and next is the grid display. So in previously the backside you have a grid mode. Thus grid mode will be on at the backside. So in the grid you can see the blue color lines, vertical lines. If you off the grid, you can't see those blue color lines at the back. And next is the snap mode on. So there is a top down button. Whenever there is a top down button here, you have to click this top down button. Then it is showing that either polar snap or grid snap. Okay, so go to snap settings, click on the snap settings. So it is off. So whenever I make it on, snap X space is 10 mm, Y space is 10 mm. We can change it on our own wish. Okay, and in the grid it is rectangular snap. Next one is isometric snap and polar snap. So default you can see the rectangular grid snap at the back side. Next, if it is isometric snap, so that the angles between the X, Y, Z is 120, and in the polar snap you can take it at an angle. Okay, so whenever you click it here, it will show the text. So when snap mode is on and you specify the polar tracking is on, so it sets to polar tracking point S snap. So in the polar tracking you can make it as such as 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees, etc. you can make. Okay, so these are the snap and grid settings. Okay, and you can also make any files, display, what to display scroll bars, button, large buttons, etc. Open and save, everything should be, a few of the things should be tick mark, so that, and whenever you are making an output device, so this is it is connected to printer, so you have to select which is the one you are. Default it is connected to printer, so this printer it will have the default location. Okay, and whenever you are giving the location for a plot, it will make as user administrator documents. So if you want to, so if I click on Control S, it will directly save in the documents. If you want to change this one to any other specific location, then you have to make this. So here default you can give it a documents. If you want to change, just click wherever you want your folder to be saved. Default you can save it here. Okay, and next system. So you can check the graphic performance of the systems and other things here. User preference. So whenever I am double click the edit, it should start all those things. Default it is in inches, you can change it to the mm. Okay, and drafting you can see the marker size. So whenever you are keeping any marker size, you can see this marker size. So example, like when you click the end point, you see a square, so this is the marker size. Whether you want more or less, you can change all this in the settings. Next, cursor size you can increase or decrease depending upon your view. Okay, and this is about drafting settings. Next, go to 3D modeling. So you don't discuss any 3D modeling. Okay, In the 3D modeling, it will show the Z axis as in the crosshair. Okay, and all those in viewport, which is a viewport you have to select. In the viewport you have to select all these things. Default will be the viewport. From the viewport you have to select. Next is the section. So whenever I'm picking any size, what should be the pickup size, what is the grip size, all those things you can make these selections here. Next, profiles. In the profiles you can add, suppose you are using with your roll number, so you can add a new profile. You can create a new profile and you can add to the list, so that at the top you can see your name, so which person is using. So whenever any person is using, he can create his profile, he can name his profile. Okay, so all this you can make the changes here. Okay, in the options you can make the changes. Okay, and next, polar tracking. So default it is 90 degrees. So in the polar tracking we default make it as 90, 45. So it is 90, 180, 270, 360. So it is in the multiplication of 45, it is the multiplication of 30. You can create your own polar tracking so that it will move. Okay, if you want to add additional angle, you can create your own additional angle. Suppose you have 5, 10, 15. So I want to create a 20, I can create 20 here. Next is the object snap. So make sure that everything is selected before starting. Make sure that select all, because if I want to know the center, so this circle know the center. If you want to draw the tangent for any of the things, so all these things you have to see which is the intersection. If you want to see, so this is the X symbol is intersection. You want to check whether the two lines are parallel or not. If you want to draw a parallel lines, everything you can select, tangent, perpendicular, everything you can see. Make sure that every time you make that select all, so that you will be on safer side. And this is 3D object snap. So generally we are not using any 3D, so we are not using midpoint on edge. You have to make sure that it is on and not is only in 3D. So if required, whenever we are using a spline, we will use this node, perpendicular, all these things. If you are using 3D, then you have to make sure that it is on. Next, dynamic input. So dynamic input is nothing but whenever I click on the mouse cursor, I should see that what is the x coordinate, what is the y coordinate, I can see. Okay, and there is a settings also. There are different types of dimensions, either polar coordinates, Cartesian coordinates, relative coordinates, absolute coordinates. So it is based on relative coordinate with respect to the previous point. It is called relative. If everything is with respect to the origin, we consider it as absolute coordinates. All those things here. Okay, you can also enable dimension whenever I am clicking from this point to this point. So this distance is 3.772, so that I can see the dimensions. Also it should be on. Make sure that you are owning these two, so that whenever you are moving your cursor, you can see the coordinates at the cursor and this one. And whenever it has to specify whether you are clicking the first point, second point, everything should be there. So that's the reason again you have to make sure that it is in tick mark. And next is the quick properties. So if you want to change the properties of anything, you want to see the properties palette, then you can make sure that display the quick properties. And minimum 3 rows, you can collapse the palette or anything. In the minimum 3 it is off, we are not collapsing anything, so we have made it as off. Next is the selection cycle. So no need to do anything in the selection cycle. So this is the selection cycle is the last. So make sure that you are on all these buttons, checking all these buttons before starting the this one. Okay, and next is the infer constrainer. So we make that constraint are off. So what is meant by constraint, we'll select in the parametric. So when I'm discussing parametric, I will tell like the what is meant by constraint. So we initially we are making the constraint as off. So next is dynamic input. So we have seen the dynamic input, we have made it on. So whenever I'm making dynamic input on, so that if I click any command, so that I can see my x coordinate and y coordinate. So it will tell that this is the first point, this is the so this is the second point, next point, so this is the next point, this is the next point. It will show the all these things in this here. Okay, so dynamic input every time should be off. So next is ortho. So whenever the ortho is off, you can draw the inclined lines. Any inclination you can draw in the ortho. But when I click the ortho mode or F8, just click the button F8, so that you can draw only horizontal or vertical you can draw. Okay, you cannot go inclined, whatever may be the case, you cannot go. If you are clicking any point, then it will go as inclined in the ortho, or else it will go as only straight. If there is no other points are mentioned, it will go only in vertical and horizontal. Okay, by using this ortho. So make sure that if you're drawing only horizontal vertical, make sure that ortho is on. If you're drawing any inclined lines, make sure that it is off. So next is the polar tracking. So in the polar tracking, already told, it is the multiplication of 90, 90, 180, 270, 360, 45, 90, 135. So initially we should off the polar tracking settings. Okay, and this is called isoplane. So isoplane is nothing but whether it is you are seeing from the left side, you are seeing right top side, you are seeing right side. So whenever you are seeing from the left side, the depth, nothing but the z axis you can't see, and whenever you are seeing from the top plane, you can see the other plane. Because this is in the top plane, you can't see the, you can see only x and y in here, and isoplane you can't see the front view, nothing but the x-axis you can't see. If you are seeing from the right side, you can't see one axis. Okay, and this isoplane is used for, if you click the isoplane, and now I'm clicking the isoplane, so it has become, cursor has been changed to isographic. So whenever you are doing only 2D, don't use this isoplane. If you are using 3D, then make sure that you are using this isoplane. And next is the snap reference. So make sure that you are owning the object snap tracking, so that you can draw any other midpoint and all those things you can verify by using this one. And next is the object snap. So object snap, you can see the endpoint. Endpoint is the square, midpoint, center, all those things you can see. Make sure that you are selecting all and click OK in this one, so that whenever you draw anything, you can draw the parallel, intersection, tangent, all the things you can see here. Okay, and next is the transparency. So what is the distance you are seeing, what is the you are seeing here in, so what is the transparency display is on or off, you can see the transparency display here. Okay, next is the selection cycle. So default we have off the selection cycle, and snap cursor for 3D reference point. So only for 3D reference point, if you are using a instead of using this 2D, if you are using a 3D, you can use, you can switch on and you can select what are the required, whether you are not perpendicular, etc. You can select this one. Okay, and dynamic UCS. So here we can select the active solid planes, we can on or off here. Okay, and here we can select the, whether we want to select the vertex, edge, face, all those things we can make it on. Mostly this we will use in 3D. Okay, and also gizmo. So you can, where you want to see, whether you want to rotate as a gizmo, whether you want to scale as a gizmo, everything you can make by using this one. Okay, and next is the show annotations. So there are different types of annotations here. So it will always show the annotation. If you click any dimension, it will show the annotation. If you scale anything, it will show the what are the changes. Okay, current view, you can adjust your scale to current view in this one. Okay, and here if you click this one, so scale 1:1, nothing but if I'm drawing 50 mm line, it will show the 50 mm line. So if I make sure as 1:2, if I'm drawing 50 mm line, it will take it as 25 mm. Similarly, if I take 2:1, so if I draw 50 mm line, it will take it as 100 mm line. So all this customization automatically you can make. And next important is the workspace setting. So in AutoCAD we can not only draw only 2D, we can draw the 3D basics and 3D modeling. So in the drafting annotation, it is a completely 2D. So in few of the systems, default will be 3D basics. Compulsory you have to change it to 2D drafting annotation. 3D basics, basic 3D geometry like circle, like cylinder, cone, wedge, all this basic geometry you can model as a single 3D object. You can make, and in 3D modeling you can make the different assemblies. If there are screw and nut and screw, so you can make it in 3D modeling, and you can make assembly of the 3D mod in this 3D modeling, and you have high end commands you can use as 3D modeling here. Okay, so if you click save workspace as, you can give the name for whatever the workspace you are using. Workspace setting, so all the threes are on, all the three should be on, so that you can switch between. So generally we will not be using other thing, you can switch off, so that if you click here also you can't find these things. Okay, and customize. So in the customize you can add or anything, properties, all those things. These are the different commands available here. You can add or remove this in the in the command list by here. Okay, and last one, the display workspace label. so you can see the complete display. Okay, instead of this one you can see the which one you are using. Suppose I have changed to 3D basics. Okay, so you can see 3D basics completely. Okay, so default I'm going to traffic annotation, it will enlarge, that's it. So I don't want this enlarge, so I'm closing it. Okay, and this one is the annotation monitor. So default we have off the annotation monitor here. And decimals, so default you can click the decimals. In the we have select the units, so this is the unit button. In the units we need to have the decimals, so we are not focusing on any architecture, engineering, fractional, scientific, so we want decimals, so we have selected in the units, we have selected decimals. Okay, and next one is the quick properties. So quick, what are the properties you want to see? You can see the quick properties here that we have made it as off. Okay, and next is isolate object. So one of the most important isolate object is, suppose I have drawn something like this. Suppose I have drawn something like this. This is one object, and I'm taking a circle and I've drawn another object. Okay, so if I want to make isolate object, I have to make it switch the, I want to on it, and isolate object I have to select. It will ask which object to be isolated, so I select only circle, I click enter, so that this only isolated and I can see only this one, I can't see this one. Already it has been drawn but I can't see here, so that I can again end object isolation. If I click end object isolation, so that I can see the other, what are the everything I can see. So if I click this one, I can't see other things. So isolate object, if I select only the circle, I can't see the title block also. Title block also has been gone, it has been hide. So I can, if you want any additional object, so you can additional object available, from that you can select. Okay, end object isolation, then only you can see. So in some cases object isolation is on, so that you have to remove those things here. Okay, and here Autodesk, so default whatever you are saving, everything will be saved in the web browser location, it will save here. And this is the clear screen. So whenever I use this clear screen, I can see that all the commands have been gone. Okay, only command bar is there. This one also I can click on the like control plus 9 and it will be also be gone. Okay, so these are the different commands we'll be using. And control plus O, whenever I click control plus O and all those things, yeah, whenever I click control plus 0, then the clear screen is off, so that it clears all the screen whatever you are drawn. It is then generally in the interviews they'll use this kind of clear screen, so that so that you can't use other tools. Okay, so customization has been completed. So next in the top, so this is the AutoCAD icon, so you have to click AutoCAD icon. We can create new, open. If I already any save already I have saved, then I can click on the drawing and I can open the previous one. I can save as, there are different types of templates. I can save as a template. Whenever I save as template, it will save as DWT file format. Okay, if I want to install any drawing standards, it will save, it will convert into different versions of the AutoCAD, all those things. If I want to import any PDF, I can import any other files, I can import, export. So whenever I have drawn something, I want to export, I can make it as DWF, 3D DWF, PDF, everything I can make in this one. Or else I can create any other format, I can save it as any other format here. Okay, so these are different formats, so I can save it as ACIS, lithography. Mostly we use IGS. Whenever we want to make the conversion from one to other, we will use IGS here. Okay, so I'm not saying anything. Okay, so publish. So in the publish is nothing but it is connected to a 3D print. So suppose I have drawn something like a small I have drawn a very small component. I have drawn like a screw, nut and screw. I have to make it as I want to generate it as 3D object. So we need to have a 3D machine. So directly we can send it to 3D machine. We can generate everything. Okay, we want to send email directly. We can share. We can create a view link, so that link we can share it online. So print. So print is nothing but the plot. Another name for the print we use here is plot. Plot is nothing but the in the plot it has certain plotter, printers, everything we can plot using this plot command. So here we can make different types of plots. We can make these settings, we can make it as batch plot, all those things. 3D print also is possible here. Okay, and drawing utilities, so what are the units, what are the status, everything you can select here. So I can close any current drawings directly. I can click this one, I can close all the open drawings at a time. Instead of clicking one by one, I can use all these things at a time. Okay, so these are the same thing. If I want to create a new, I have to click Q new. If I want to open, I'll in the command I need to type open. If I want to save anything, if I directly click on save, it will save as DWG file format. If I want to save as any other file format, save as. So next, so this button help you if you have installed the AutoCAD in your mobile and from there you want to open the AutoCAD file, then you can use this button. And if you want to send to your mobile and all those things, you can use this button. And if you want to have any of the print, directly you can click this one and then you can select continue to plot a single sheet or multi-sheet, you can type, or else you can directly select the plot command and then you can perform the plot. Already we discussed how to make a plot. Okay, and this is the undo button. So if you have done any mistake, you can reverse your action. Okay, so these are the different I have done. Total I have undone all these one. So everything I can make, select the required undo. Okay, so after undo, if you click undo, then it will be redo. So previous command, previous of undo will be activated. Okay, suppose I have clicked this one. Okay, has been activated. So now it has again come back to everything redone. Okay, so this about annotations. Already we discussed what is drafting annotations, we discussed. So this is the extra commands we are having, and this is nothing but a layer. So already we will be discussing layer here. So same thing has been activated here when we have selected everything, so that everything has been activated here. Okay, so match properties, separate match properties there. So when I explain that, I will explain. And different properties, existing properties, how to control what are the render. It is a 3D. To make the any 3D object as realistic, we use this render object. And if you performing any sheet, drawing of any sheets and other thing, sheet is nothing but like metal iron sheets or other thing, where you have very less thickness for that sheet, you can make the any sheet set manager you can make here. Okay, so these are in the ribbon. We have different tools such as home panel, insert, annotate, parametric, view, manage, output, add-ins, collaborate, express, feature apps, etc. Okay, so here if you click on minimize panel titles, it will be minimized and you can't see all those things. So make sure that it shouldn't be tick mark. Okay, yeah. Okay, and here you have, if you want to type any keyword, all those things you can type here. And if you want to search anything in the help, if you want to search anything, directly you can type here. And sign in, so in the sign in it will show what is the license, you have all those things in this sign in. Okay, so if you click this signing, you can log into your Autodesk account, because it is already we purchase the institutional license. You run, if you have install any of the download any student version, all those things, then you have to sign in here. So if you want to purchase any of the new version or all those things, you can click on explore purchase option, so it will directly reconnect to the website. Okay, it will open a website and it will show where you can buy all those things in this here. Okay, and next, manage license. Already you have a license, and if you want to check the license, or if you want to check when is the last date of the license, all those things, you can click on this one. In sometimes if the license server is not connected and we haven't gave the exact license, if license system number, server number you have to give, and exact PC name you have to select. Okay, so currently we are using Autodesk 2019 education version. If you want to change, you can change here. Okay, if you click here, expand this one, so you can see the device name, server number, and what is the serial number you have used while installing, what is the license ID you have, and what is the whether it is extendable or it is at the end of November 24 2024 it is completed and license can be extended or not, you can know here by this one. So you can see the expiration date. So before expiration date you have to apply for the extension of the license, so that they will be extending the license. Okay, so I'll go for home button. In the home button you can draw all those things in this home button. So first one is the draw. In the home you have draw, modify, annotate, layers, block, properties, etc., group, utilities, clipboard, views, etc. So first we can start the drawing. So before starting the drawing we have to, basic is the point, so you have to type the point and you can click enter. So directly it will ask where to specify. You can see the coordinate. Suppose I want coordinate as 100 comma 100 or else 150 comma 150. Click 150, click on in the keyboard, either click tab button or comma, so that directly it will go to this one. So 150 150, a point is created. If you are unable to see the point, so you already see the point. If you are unable to see the point, if you want to enlarge or like this, you can use p type. P is nothing but the point, type is nothing but the changing the style, and click enter. Then default value is 5, so it is 5 is very large. Some cases I'll use 3. I can change my fonts, what are the point, how it should represent, I can change whether it is a plus or cross, all those things. So these are different columns. You can see that it is like in a circle it is a dot, in a square it is a dot, in a square circle it is a dot. So like that you have different, so there is no representation of anything. So here better I will generally I'll use this type of point projection. I'll click OK, so that it has been updated. You can see a circle and center, you can directly pick this center here. Okay, and if you want to change the dimensions of this one, you can go to the p type and you can change. Okay, so I can create a point at any random distance. I can create point and enter. I can select any point. I can create multiple. If you want to create multiple points, you have to select multiple point and you have to select, just click enter, so that you can select anywhere. Okay, so this is about the point and type. And then coming to here, okay, so before this one I will explain what is this ribbon and all those things. So initially we are in world coordinate system, so there are world coordinate system and user coordinate system. So default it is in the world coordinate system. If you want to create our new coordinate system, we can use new coordinate system. And this is the cube, we call this as cube. We are seeing from the top view, and if you click this one, it is a northeast, northwest corner, northeast corner, all the things you can see. If you want to see the bottom view, then rotate it. This is the front view. In the front view you can't see anything. So like that you can rotate your views. Mainly it is used in the 3D. It is very much helpful in the 3D. Okay, and you want to rotate somewhere like 90 degrees, because it is in polar 90 we have activated, so only 90 in the multiples of 90 it will rotate. Okay, and this is a steering wheel. If you don't want, you can close this one, or else you can select full navigation, all things you can select. So this is a pan option. So if I click this pan option, I can move. I can click the left click of the mouse and I can move. And this is the zoom extend. So there are different types of zoom options are there. Zoom extend, what are the maximum limit is there, that limit you can see. Zoom window, you can specify a specific window, you can create a specific window, whatever there inside that window you can see, it will zoom. Okay, and then next zoom previous, it will go back to previous zoom. Okay, so zoom in real time, zoom in all, z enter enter, instead of clicking z enter enter, if you click zoom all, you can directly get what are the options available in the zoom. Directly these are directly here. So if your mouse is not working, then directly mouse or keyboard is not working, then directly you can click on this one and you can zoom in zoom out options are there. Next orbit, it is rotating, so we can change the orbit, so that if I rotate this one, it will rotate. I can click any of the point and I can rotate. Okay, so okay, I need to off this one, so I'll go back to previous orbit. Okay, and I'll click on this, I'll come out of the command and I'll click on top, so that you can see everything. So orbit is an option where we can rotate all those things, will be helpful in this orbit. Okay, and show motion. So if you want to like So this is the most important. So in the show motion, so previous any animation they want to draw like Mickey Mouse or Tom and Jerry, so they used to draw n number of images and they'll make as a motion. So like here also we can create n number of images side by side and we can make as a show motion, so make it like an animation we can make here. Okay, so generally this won't be required if you are using any zoom or pan options, you can use this one. Okay, so now home, in the home first is the draw, so we have created the point. So now we have to create the line, so shortcut for the line is just type L and enter. You can generate a line or else directly you can click here line and you can select, click any point anywhere you want. So center I want to start, so I can use ortho mode is on, so I can draw only in the multiples of 90 I can draw. So I want to make it off, I can make it off the ortho F8, then I can rotate at my own distance, I can rotate. Okay, so this is about line command, and whenever the dynamic input is on, okay, so I can use this line command a number of ways. Okay, so if I want to draw only horizontal, I can write any angle I want to rotate. So from the starting point, if I'm coming down, it is a negative angle. Okay, when I'm going up, it is a positive angle. Okay, suppose I want a 100 mm line inclined at 30 degrees. So what I have to do, already you can see 127, I'll make it as 100. I'll click on the tab button on the keyboard so that it will default, it will go this side. I want 30 degrees. Okay, so like that I can create the second point, next point I can create. Okay, so like that I can use this as a line command. Okay, or I'll just specify the first coordinate, don't click anything. Suppose I want 100 by 100 is the first point and 200 by 200 is the second point, so directly I can click 100, I'll go to tab 100, I'll click enter, so that it will add this second point. Second point I will take it as 200 tab and 0 degrees, so that this is exactly horizontal. I can get draw the lines here. Okay, y is fixed here, so that you get this kind of points. So similarly, if you want to give the two coordinates, directly you can click the point here. I will click the line, so directly I can give it as 150 tab 150, click enter, and we'll add the second point. Second point is 200 comma 200, so directly come to command bar 200 comma, so it will be coming to the command bar 200 comma 200. If you type directly, you can create the line at an angle. Okay, so if you look at here, click this point, it will around 150 by 150, it will be around 200 by 200. Okay, you can create your own lines like this. Okay, so next is the polyline. So suppose if I draw on a line like this, if I draw a line like this, instead of this one, if I select, it will be a different lines, all the three lines here. But if I use a polyline, then directly I can generate so this is a point, so some line, and I can join directly. And if I click come out of the command, right click and cancel, it is a single line. So whenever you want to generate a single line, you can use this polyline command, or else specify any start point, then it will it will ask whether you want to draw any arc. Arc is nothing but segment of circle. If you want to draw any half width, if you want to draw any length, and you want to undo and width, you can use. So if I want to draw any arc, then I can specify the distance, whether it is an angle, it is a center, it is a direction, you can use this as this one. Okay, suppose I want to draw an arc with a distance of 100 mm in between them, so I can directly type 100 mm. So with respect to the starting point, I can generate, and then now it will ask any of the angle you want. So vertical distance, suppose 100, I click, so I'll get a vertical distance. Okay, so if I rotate 360 degrees, then it will be a closed circle, I can generate the arc. Okay, so like that you can generate the polyline. And if I click anywhere and click cancel, come out of the, if I click anywhere, it will become as a single element only. Okay, and the polyline, if you start any of the point, then half width, you can specify the what is the width, you can type. So width I will be giving as 3, enter, and then I can give whatever the specific end point of that angle, so that I can get this one. Okay, so this width, with respect to width, I'll be getting all these objects, okay, by using this p line arc. Okay, yeah, so that is the use of polyline. Mostly it will become as a single element. Next is circle. There are different types of circles: center and radius, center diameter, 2 point, 3 point, tan radius, tan. So center and radius, click on center and draw the circle. If you want to diameter, so give the first the center point and give the diameter is suppose 200. So 200 diameter will be selected. Okay, and why you use radius and diameter is whenever you want to give the uh, dimensions mostly, then it is really helpful by using these circles. Next, 2 points, specify the first point, specify the end point. It is just like a diameter, or else anywhere on the point. Suppose you have a line here, this an inclined line somewhere here, then directly right click so that I can specify the 2 points, starting point of the line and ending point of the line, so that I can generate a circle there. Okay, next 3 points. So this is my first point, this is my second point, and this is my third point. Anywhere I can click, so that with respect for 3, the circle touches all these 3 points. Okay, and next is the tan radius. So you can directly, if you want to learn anything, just keep your mouse here, mouse pointer here, so that you can see what are the different shapes. So there you have 2 points and you can give the radius. Okay, so one is somewhere like this and one is like this. So with respect to these two tangents, I want to generate a circle, so I'll select tan radius. So this is the tangent of the line, and specify the radius. So default it is coming 55.611, so I directly click it so that I'll generate. So exactly radius, you have to select the correct radius. If you're not selecting correct radius, you can't get the correct arc. Okay, next tan. Suppose I have drawn a triangle. Example, I have drawn a triangle, and inside the triangle I want to generate a circle. So tan. So I select this tangent, and this tangent, so that with respect to these tangents, specify circle. So with respect to specify the points, you can directly generate it. Okay, select this tangent, and select this tangent, so that automatically this is a tangent of the line. So this point, it will be generating the circle. Okay, so these are about the different circles. Next comes arc. Arc is also same. Arc is another segment of the circle. So I have to draw any 3 points. I have to draw, that is the arc is generated there. Okay, next, start, center, end. So you can see you have one starting point, you know the center, you click the end. So directly this is my starting point, this is my center, and this is my end, so that I can generate an arc. So next is the start, center, angle. So I know the starting point, I know the center, and I'll give the angle, whether angle is 10 degrees, 20 degrees, 30 degrees, 2 degrees, 10 degrees. So 10 degrees, so that arc is generated. So this is the segment, this is the start point, this is the center, and angle is rotated 2 degrees. Okay, next, start, center, length. So I have a length. Suppose this is the starting point, this is somewhere center, and this is the length. What is the length? So you can type length as example 100. So with respect to 100 length, the arc is generated. Next, start, end and angle. You know the starting point, you know the end point, and you want to draw the angle. Okay, so this is my starting point, this is my end point, and I'm giving the angle. Suppose the angle is around 90. You will get the arc. Okay, so start, end and direction. So whether it is a which direction you have to give it. You know the starting point, you know the end point, and you have to give the direction, whether this is right side or left side. You have to give the direction. So based on the direction you can get the this one. Just specify the direction, it will complete it. Next, start, end and radius. You know the starting point of the arc, you know the ending point of the arc, then you give the radius, whether the radius is 132, 133. Depending upon your radius you will generate the circle, generate the arc. Suppose 150, you generate the arc there. Next, start, center and end. You know the center. First click the center, then you have to select the center, then you have to click the what is the starting point, and you have to show where is the end point. Okay, whether ending is left side or right side, you have to mention the angle. Start, center and end. Okay, place it. Next, start, center, start and angle. So you have to specify the what is the center of the circle. Next, you have to specify from where it is starting, and then you have to measure the included angle. Same, it will rotate. And then start, center, length. So this is the starting point, somewhere will be the center, and you will giving the length. Based on the length, whether it is 200, 100, you will get the arc. Okay, you have to use the required arcs based on it. Okay, select the correct arc whenever required. So arc has been completed. Next, here you have two things, rectangle and polygon. So everyone knows the rectangle because you have created this as a rectangle. Specify the starting point, specify the end point and complete it. Okay, suppose I want to specify start point as 100 comma 100, enter, and 200 comma 200, so that this is a rectangle I can generate. I can give you the rectangle dimensions or square dimensions here. Okay. Next is the polygon. Polygon, you have two things with respect to inside the circle or outside the circle. You have two things in the polygon, inside circle or outside circle. Okay, so select the polygon. It will ask enter number of sides. If you click on 4, it will be a square. If you will be click on 3, it is a triangle. All the sides are equal. So if you give one side, all the sides are equal. So suppose I want hexagon, so I'll type 6, enter. It will ask center of the polygon. So this is my center, whether you should get inside the circle or outside the circle. If I click inside circle, everything is inside the circle. You can see that everything is inside circle. So similarly, same polygon, if I click on 6, enter, and edge, center, specify the center of the polygon. So this is my center. Circumscribe, it will come outside the circle. Specify the radius. Okay, so radius will be equal to this radius. This is the radius of this circle, so mention the radius of the circle. So it is hexagon is outside the circle, hexagon is inside the circle. Okay, there are two types, inside the circle or outside the circle. You can draw hexagon. Okay, any polygon you can draw. Number of sides 6, enter. Edge, so edge distance is number. Suppose the hexagon one side is 30 mm, so 30 mm. Okay, and you will ask whether inside the circle or outside the circle. So you have to click and you have to give the distance, whether you want horizontal distance or vertical distance, you can mention. Okay, click F8. So next object is the spline object. So there are two types of spline, one is spline fit and one spline CV. You have two types. So this spline I can control with the control vertex, so it is called spline CV. spline fit. Exactly, if you draw any points directly, it will fit to that point. Okay, so I will draw the few lines. I'll click on the F8 and I will draw the line here. And for this line I will be making the for this line I'll be giving an offset here. So again I will use the offset command. I will select the distance as suppose 50, enter, and select the object. I'll place above and again I'll click enter. Again I'll be selecting this, repeat the command 50, select the object distance, then that dimension 50 and enter, and go to this object and give it here. Okay, and similarly I will draw a vertical line from this point to this point and cancel. Then again I can use this offset command. I will click the offset command, distance is 50. Okay, then space enter and then select the object. I'll select the object so that I can generate here. Again I'll click enter, so that I can select the offset. Again 50, enter. I'll select the object and I'll select the object and I can give 50. Again I can select the object, I can give 50 and select the object, I can give 50. Okay, so I have to draw with these control points. I have to draw the spline. Okay, there are two types of spline. One is spline fit, so I can directly click this point and I can generate a spline. Okay, just if you want to come out of the command, just click enter. Okay, or else so I'll go for the spline command. I'll click on here, I'll come here, I'll click all the points. Okay, so this is a command has been completed. So I have to rotate I have to keep my cursor. If you rotate here, the spline final length is been reduced. So click on end tangency or directly place your here and click enter, so that it will be generated here. Or else again, once again I will explain, I got it wrong. So again I click on spline fit, select this one, I will select the all the objects. Okay, so I want like this. Then I can click on end tangency. I want to end the tangency and I make sure that it is exactly tangent to that point, exactly tangent to the point, so that I can generate this curve. So this is about spline fit. It is passing through all the points. What are the points are there, it is passing through those points. Okay, okay, so I'll be selecting and I'll be deleting these points so that you have a better understanding. So already this spline has been created. With respect to this spline, we'll see the what is the spline control CV. Okay, so this is the point. I am going to control CV, select the first point, select the I will off the ortho, I'll go and select the point, second point, I'll select the third point, I'll select the fourth point, I'll select the fifth point, I'll select the sixth point. Then I can click on, I can make it as some like tangencies and I can click enter, so that if you see this one, it has a control points. If I move the control vertex, then my shape will be changed. Whether the control vertex is above or below, it will change my this one. Okay, so this is my control point. I can change my control here by using this one. Okay, so based on the control point, if you click this one, directly control points are coinciding with this one. Okay, so this is about the drawing this spline command. It is also very important spline. Whenever you have n number of points, if you want to draw any curve passing through that one, then this is a better, because in the arc you have only 3 points. more than 3 points we can't join, so that's the reason definitely we have to use this spline command. Next is the ray command. As you can see, it is of infinite length. So if I draw a ray command, it will be of infinite length. How much you zoom in, zoom out, you can see the infinite amount of length. If I click F8, I can draw the either horizontal and vertical simultaneously. I can draw by using this one. Okay, and come out of the command. Next is the ray. You have a starting point and end point is infinite. Okay, so this is my starting point. I'll click ortho off, then I can click go to this command, this ray command, and I can specify whatever ray, because now I can't see both the sides, only one side. Starting point is there, ending point is limitless, unlimited end point you can have. Okay, and next is the multiple points. So if I directly I want to click the multiple points, so I'll click multiple points. I can select the n number of points, so that n number of points is created, because if you click a point, only one point is created, you can't click continuously. So I'll show again. If I click the point, enter, only one point, I'll come out the command. If I click the point, point, enter, then I can select only one point. It come out of the command, automatically comes out of the command. So that's the reason we have to use this multiple points. Okay, and if I want to divide anything, okay, then you can use this divide. Suppose I want to select this one, enter, it will ask number of segments. I want around 3 or 2. I'll make 3, enter, so that from this is one segment, this is the second segment, this is the third segment. Okay, I can make the division according to my wish. And next is the measure. Okay, so if you want to measure between the points, this point to this point, or else if you want to measure anything from, select object to measure length from here to here. If I measure, it will show the measure length of the, select the object to measure. Okay, you can specify the length of the segment. From total you can specify how much you want to measure, 5, and enter, so that it will be make as 5 mm. 5 measurement you can make exactly 5, you can make measure. So out of total you have whatever may be the length. Suppose the length is, it is equal, but even though if it is not equal, suppose this length is around 110, and with this 110 I want to make divide. Suppose this is, I will draw a one more line. This line is around 115, 118, I think. I'll draw 118, and I want to use the measure option. So I click on the measure. I select the object to measure. Number of segments, how many segments I want segments of around in 5, and click enter. So I'll get n number of segments, and if you measure the distance between one segment and other segment, it will be 5. You can see the 5. But if you measure this end point and this end point, you will get as 5. It all the things exactly it has divided into 5 mm. It has been divided. Whatever may be the case, you want to divide into equal number of parts, 5, then you can use this measure command. Okay, so next one is the region. It converts an object that enclosed into area or region. Okay, so similarly there are different lines. These are different lines. Okay, somewhere I want to make this as enclosed region. Select the region objects, whatever you want to make, and click on enter. select the objects, click enter. So if you click here, everything has become a single object. So this is the region command. You can use different object as a single object, or else you can use join command to make it a single object. Okay, next is the wipeout. It creates the wipeout. So if you whatever the if you draw anything in between these things in this wipeout, and click enter, so that area has been wiped out. You can't see that area. And if you delete this one, then you can see that area will be deleted, and you can see the what are the area is hiding behind it, you can see here. Okay, and then next is the 3D polyline. Now we are not discussing any 3D line to have here. Okay, and next is the helix, and in the helix you have to select the first point, second point, third point, and fourth point you have to select in the helix. So first select the base point from the starting point where you have to select, and give the radius, whether radius is 10, 20, 30. I'll give it as 15, and then you give the number of coils. If you move what is the distance between one and other, then you can have the number of coils. The coils is either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'll give it as 1. So this is the spiral whatever I'm getting. If you want to specify any height of this one, height is around 20, and enter. So you can see this is the spiral helix what we have got. Okay, you can see this is the spiral helix with the expected dimension we got it. Okay, this is 3D. Generally it is a 3D because we are giving length, width and height, so 3 dimensions are giving, it is a 3D. And donut is also a 3D. You specify the inner diameter and you specify the outer diameter of the donut, then it will be, you can generate the donut. Okay, so I'll specify inner diameter, outer diameter. I can create n number of objects by using this one. Okay, inner diameter, outer diameter, donuts. Generally we don't use this donut much. Next is the revision cloud. Suppose I want to do anything, I have missed anything, then I can create revision cloud. This can be either rectangle, because ortho is on. If I off the ortho and if I go to revision cloud, then I can create my own revision cloud. So here I can select the rectangle, polygon or freehand. So freehand, generally the freehand is better, so that you can create this as a revision. Okay, then you can create your n number of revisions here and click as enter, so that you can freehand. So this is a revision I want to make. Type command, so that give the end point, so that it is completed, the revision is completed. Okay, so if in the few of the comics and all those things, you could see this revision code whenever anyone is saying anything and all those things, you can use this revision cloud there. Okay, so this is about the draw toolbar. Everything completed. If you want a rectangle, if you want a polygon, all those things you can draw. 5 points, 6 points, 7 points, 8 points, whatever the points you click, you will get the n number. Okay, then you have to click on enter, so that it will be completed. Okay, so this is about the draw bar. Next we'll be using the move command. So if I already have drawn this one, if I want to move, select the object, click enter, then it will ask the specify base point. Either you want to select the end point or you want to select the displacement, anything you can select it, and you can move the object. Okay, similarly rotate. So I want to rotate this object, I'll select the rotate, enter. It will add the base point from where you want to rotate. So select the center, and I can rotate at an angle, whether it is 30 degrees, 40 degrees. I can rotate it as 30 degrees, enter. It has been rotated at 30 degrees. So you can measure the distance, whether it has been rotated or not. You can measure the angle. So next is the copy. So I want to copy any of the object, click enter, click copy, enter, specify the base point, any base point, select any base point and copy. So difference between move and copy is the existing object will move. So in the copy, a new object is created, and I can create n number of objects at a time by using this copy command. If I want to end, click escape, so that it has been n number of objects has been copied. Next is the stretch command. So whenever I want to stretch anything, so I can use this stretch command. I'll create this I'll create a rectangle. And I can use this stretch command. Click the object, enter base point from where you want to start, and I can use this one. So I can use the stretch command so that it might be increased. Okay, I can use this stretch command. Select the object, stretch objects, enter, specify the base point or displacement. So I'll be owning this one. So base point or displacement, so how much is the stretch I want? Suppose 50. So it has been stretched to 50 from the center. Okay, so here, instead of creating a complete object, it should be independent object. So I can create independent objects. I'll create independent objects, and I can use the stretch command. Select the object, which are the points I'm stretching. Click enter, specify the base point, and I can stretch only that points. I can stretch, suppose the distance is around 50 mm. I have made the distance, I made the gap of 50. So if I want to draw, I have to enter 50, so that that line will be joining that point. Okay, so individual objects you can make it as stretch. Okay, all the rotate complete. Next is mirror. So in the mirror, you draw only half of the portion, and you will be creating another half by using the mirror command. So in this mirror command, you have to specify the axis. Suppose if you are seeing a mirror, between the object and the mirror there should be a line or a reference should be there, so that other side the object is generated. So similarly, I have to click this object here and select this object. All this one I want on the other side. Okay, I'll click enter. Will add the mirror line. So I can give at a distance. I can give a mirror line. I give a distance. At the distance I can give mirror line. So yeah, every time you have to click no. If you want to delete this object, click yes. If you don't want to delete, click on no. So that with respect to reference line, this is suppose 10 mm is the difference here. With respect to axis, 10 mm you will be getting. And similarly, if I want to know exactly at the distance, I'll create enter. Then I'll select the mirror line, so that no, so that a rectangle is created. This one is created directly without zero reference line. You can generate, or giving any distance you can generate. Next is the scale command. In the scale command, either you can enlarge the object or you can reduce the size of the object. So I'm selecting this is a scale because to show the difference. I'll click enter. So this is the base point, so I can select any base point. So I'll select this is the midpoint. With respect to this one, it has to rotate. So either I am increasing, so that size will increase. If I am reducing, the size will reduce. So here I'll give it as 0.5. General standard will give it as 0.5, so that half, exactly half, it will be reduced. So that if I want to join here, I can join, and I can make any of the object here like this. I can make any of the object by using this scale command. Exactly half it has been reduced with respect to the base point. With respect to that base point, it has been become as half. Okay, next is the trim command. So trim is the most important thing we'll be using. So click the trim command, or else tr is nothing but shortcut for trim. Tr, enter. It will ask object to select. Don't click anything, again click enter. Then it will ask anything, then directly select the object which one you can select, remove. Okay, so trim, again I'm explaining because trim is important. Come out of the command trim, or else directly click here and again click enter. 2 times you have to enter, and I'll be selecting whichever object I want to delete. I can select this one and I click enter, so that trim has been completed. Opposite of the trim is the extend, so I have to click extend. Then it will ask the first final object where to extend. I select this final object way to extend, click enter, and this one I have to extend. Just click this one, it will be extended. This one, it will be extended here. This one, it will be extended, because we have mentioned the final object. Final extension should be, it shouldn't cross this length. Okay, so whichever line you select, it will be meeting that point. That is called extend. Okay, so trim and extend completed. Next is the fillet. So fillet is also very important. If you create a complete rectangle, you can't apply the fillet or anything on this object, so it should be different parts. So if different parts, select the object, first object, and object to be fillet, and click enter. Okay, yeah, so it is a single object. Okay, single object, so I have to make it as different lines. So I can use the line command. I can make random length. I can make, so this is a rectangle I have created with different segments, or else I can use explode command. So now only I am explaining explode command. Select this is the explode command. Shortcut is x. Select this one and select the object and click enter, so that now I can select the different segments. So for these segments I want to use the fillet. Okay, first one is the fillet, second one is the chamfer, third one is the blend curves. Go for fillet, select this edge and this edge, then you can apply, or else select the fillet and directly specify the radius. You need to know the radius is approximately 5 mm example. Then I can select this one and this one, so that with respect to radius it has been generated. Once again I am explaining fillet. Select the fillet, select the radius is about 10 mm example. I'll select this point and this point, so automatically it will be generated. Similarly, I am going for chamfer. Chamfer is nothing but the sharp edges or bevel edges. You can see the here. I want to select this one and this one. Then I will go for chamfer. So it will select the first line. I'll select the first line. Then I need to select whether it is a distance or angle. Suppose I have a given angle of 45 degrees. Then I have to select the chamfer from the first line is also 45 degrees. Okay, second line, now I have to select the second line. The distance is too large, so I have to remove the angle. I have to reduce the angle to either 30 degrees or 10 degrees. Okay, so I can apply here. I'll go for the chamfer. Either distance also you can measure, or else angle. Go for angle 45 degrees, first angle. So select the chamfer angle from the first angle. So first is 45. Select the first line. I can select the first line. Then it will ask select the second line. Okay, so still the distance is very large, so I'll reduce the distance because these are very small rectangle. So I'll go for the chamfer, mention the distance is around 5 mm. Specify the second chamfer distance is also 5 mm. Select the first line, I'll select the first line. Select the second line, I'll select the second line, so that I'll get a chamfer. Similarly, if I want to get chamfer with an angle, I'll go for angle. It will ask what is the first angle. I will give very less angle, suppose 15 degrees. And from the chamfer, from the first angle is also 15. Select the first line. I will be selecting the first line. I will be selecting the second line. So these are the 15 degrees chamfer. With respect to x-axis, it is 15 degrees. Okay, so this is about the chamfer. Generally we take chamfer of 45 degrees, that will be better. Okay, and one more thing is a blend curves. So if I draw a two lines, one line, and I'll give offset. Already I have explained explode. Now I use offset command. So distance is around example 20. Enter. Select the object and 20 placed. So blend curves is nothing but if I want to draw any curve in between these two, then I can use the blend curves. It will ask the select the first object, enter. It will ask the second object. Okay, so once again I will be selecting the blend curves. First object, select second object, don't click anything, select the second object, so that this is my blend curve. I can change the tangency or control vertex. I can move up and down of this vertex so that I can generate this. I can move this arc. It is based on the control points. With respect to control points, you can generate anything. So suppose I have drawn any parallel lines. Click offset, distance is 20, enter, select the distance. So if now I want to make the blended curves. I click blend curves, first object, and select second object, directly select, so that you can generate this blend curves. Okay. So next is erase. So if I want to erase anything, I'll click the erase. I'll select the object, whichever object I select, that object is erased. Okay, this chamfer I have created, this chamfer I want to erase, so I'll erase this chamfer. Okay, so like that you can directly erase that specific object. Next is the array. There are three types of arrays. One is rectangular array, path array, and polar array. Okay, suppose I have created a circle somewhere, so I will be deleting all these things. Now I have created a circle somewhere, very small circle. Create a circle, and I have to make it in the rectangular fashion. I want to have n number of rows and n number of columns. I'll select the object, enter, and will ask whether you should get how many number of rows, how many number of columns. Okay, suppose the columns are 4, so first column, second column, third column, fourth column. Number of rows are 3, first row, second row, third row. Okay, so I want same number of rows and columns. I'll click enter, so I'll get 3 rows and 3 columns. And distance, I can change the column distance between one center to other center. I want it as 20, example, so that it will come 20. I want 50, so I'll click enter, so it will have a distance of 50. So between one row and another row I want also 50, so that it has been increased, the distance has been increased between them. Total is this one. I have to click on close array, so that I can generate the n number of circles. This is called rectangular array. Okay, so similarly I am deleting the array, and again I am selecting the creating a circle at this point. Okay, now I want to go for path array. Okay, now I have to create any path, and then I have to select the object. The same object is generated. Okay, so I'll go for the line. I can specify the first line. I'll go on the ortho, so line is like this, like this, like this, and like this, and like this. Okay, I'm closing the line. Now I want to make the path array. Okay, click on the path array, select the object, so this is my object, click enter, select the path curve, so this is my path 1. So I have to select this one, and it will ask, make sure that it is in tangent direction, and normal, specify the normal point. Okay, second normal point. Okay, so you directly generate the tangent out with respect to it. Okay, select the tangent, suppose this is the point I want, so that I can generate the path on whatever maybe the path I can generate. So here what happen is there are n number of lines, so you have to select a single line. On a single line you can draw these things. Okay, so I will draw a polyline. You can use a polyline so that it will be helpful for you. So this is a polyline I have generated. Now I will draw the circle. Okay, this is a circle, and I have to give the path. So path, so select the object, select the object, select the path curve, so everything should be selected. Okay, and here you can select any of the base point, or select the base point, or any of the different tangent direction. I want to select, I'll select the tangent direction, specify the base point, and you have to select the grip edit array. So you can't edit, just click exit. Okay, so with respect to these things, you can generate the specific path, you can generate. If you want to edit anything, just double click it, you will get the this one. Okay, so now I have moved the base point, starting point, it is in this direction. Okay, aligning in z direction, so that you can see as a ball is rolling, you can see. Okay, just select the base point and select the base point as any of the base point, so that it will be tangent this one, and you can generate a path like ball is rolling, you can generate the path. So this is polar array, this is path array, next is polar array. So one more circle, I'll be drawing the circle, and I have to generate the polar. We'll ask select the object, I'll select the object, enter. It will ask the center point of array, so somewhere will be the center. So with respect to this center, all the circles are in a polar. Example, it depend upon what is the angle you are giving. Suppose I am giving the angle between them is 30. With respect to 30, you will be getting, and only one side you got. And if you want number of items, I am filling only 150 degrees, I want 360 degrees. Okay, so total I can generate as 360 degrees. Number of items I want as 12, enter. So you can get n number of items here in this case. Okay, I want only one row, between, total, everything I can give here in this case. Okay, I can give everything in this case. So click on close array. So whenever it is completed, click on close. It is a like a, if you select one element, other will be selected. Okay, if you use explode command, you can select the different circles here. Okay, so this is about the okay, so this is about the draw and modify command has been completed. Okay, okay, then now I'll be deleting this is the construction lines. I can delete these construction lines. Next, dimension. So whenever I want to write any text, I can click single line, multi-line text, or single line text. Single line, only one line I can write. Multi-line, generally select multi-line and select the corner, so that you will get the some points. So write it as any of your name, like that you can write, and give the height as suppose 5 or 8. Okay, and click outside so that you can see the this one. Okay, next, dimension. Suppose I have drawn anything, I'm drawing some triangle, so I want to give the dimension. This is a smart dimension, so that I can directly mention the incline, or else I can directly mention the horizontal distance. So if you use another dimension, you can have to select required. One is linear, so I can select either horizontal or vertical dimension. Next is the aligned dimension, only the inclination it will show. Okay, and in this horizontal also, linear also, I can mention what is this one. So either it will show what is the vertical height, also it will shows in the linear. Next, angle. What is the angle between this side of a triangle and this side of a triangle? Any side. You can know the internal angle is 71 and external angle is 109. You can see that external angle is 109. Internal angle comes as 71. Okay. And one more is arc length. Suppose if you have drawn any arc, suppose I'm drawing a very small arc, 3-point arc, so I want to measure the arc length. So directly I can measure the starting point. So the arc length is 117.1. okay. Next, radius. So radius of this circle, this circle or any arc, it is 34.4. If you want to know the diameter, just select the arc. You will get in terms of diameter. Diameter is 68.9. okay. And ordinates. So whenever you have n number of points and you want to know this ordinate, you will be using this one. And jogger line, whenever your circles, and circle has very large diameter, suppose 250 mm, 500 mm radius you have for the circle, then you can select this one as a jogger dimension. okay. And then you can select the leader dimension. Suppose leader is nothing but I'll select a point anywhere, I'll give the inclination, and I'll select the leader. In the leader I can write it as, it is around R50. Example, I'll select it as R50, and I'll give it as, suppose text height is 8. okay. I'll come out of the command, click outside, so that you can see that this is radius 50, you are mentioning that. okay. Similarly, single leader, double leader, two lines are there, two horizontal lines are there, but it's same thing. You can write are aligned, collect everything, you can use this one. Next is a table. Suppose you can create the table. You are creating an empty table where you have 4 columns of each of column with this one, and 4 rows. okay, depend upon you where to create all those things. So 4 rows and 4 columns, you can directly you can create this table. In the table you can write whatever you want to write. You can write main table heading first. okay, so the same thing, whatever you want to write you can write here in this one. okay. If you want to increase the distance, all those things, you can make these tables. Sometimes tables are required because if you are using more than one component, then you will be using this you will be giving that quantity. It is 2 quantities, 5 quantities, 10 quantities. What is the material, what is the material type they are using, aluminum or steel, etc. You have to write in this table. okay. So this is about annotation. In the annotations you have all these things same, all we are using standard annotations. If you want to change the annotation style, you can go to dim style and you have to change it. Already we have seen what is the dim style, all things we have seen. okay. And the modify also, you can edit the hatch, already we discussed hatch. You can edit the hatch, you can edit this spline, you can edit a polygon, you can edit an array, all those things you can edit. Align. So one more important is align. So I'll explain you the align. So this is an align option. So click on modify and select this is the align. So it will ask specify the source point. So this is my source point, destination where it has to meet. It has to meet this one. Next, second source point, this point has to touch this point, and click enter. So that it will ask you want to scale. Suppose this is a 10 mm distance, but here it is 20 mm distance, it is scale. I'll click on no, so that exactly same it will be moved. So it has not moved. I'll go for Control Z. I'll, instead of making a single element, I'll make it as explode. So I'll be using the align. So in the align you have to select the what is the first point, second point, what is the third point, and fourth point. okay, then it will be aligned easily. okay, so this is my object. Select aligned object, first source point, second source point, click enter. No, so that is aligned with this rectangle. okay, okay. So if I want to use the align option, select the aligned object, because if I click align here, it will might be changing. Select the first source point, third source point, and click enter. No, so that line has been aligned with this one. Okay, or else I'll select the complete object and align. First this point should touch here and this point should touch here. Enter and no, so that everything has been aligned with respect to this line. Okay, next to modify is break. So you can break between 2 points. Suppose this is a line, it is better compared to rectangle. Line, select the object, enter. It has, this is the first point and this is the second point. If you click the first point, it will select as the break as a first point. Then select here, it will be break. Okay, or else click on break, click object, it will ask the specify the break point. You type this is the first point, you haven't given the first point, so click F, enter. So I want break from here to here, then so that I got the break here. Okay, and then break at a point, so we are breaking at a single point. So this is the object, enter. So it has been mixed with other, so I'll select this is the first break point, enter. I will be using the break at a point, select object, first break point. So it has broken into 2 parts. Okay, so like this we can break into exactly 2 parts. Wherever we want to break, we can directly break at that point as a single element, it will break. Okay, this is one element and another is the another element you can get. So next is the join command. So I want to join this point and this point, click enter. So now if I click here, both are a single object. Similarly, reverse the line or a helix, you can use this reverse object. If you want to reverse the direction, suppose it is going from one x direction, you want to reverse, a positive x can be made as reverse x. All those things you can make in this reverse. Next, copy and paste. Copy the object in the next and for external reference or listing. Delete duplicate objects. Suppose I have created a number of circles, I can delete these duplicate objects. If any duplicate object is found, then it will be deleted. Okay, next is the bring font. So whether you want to bring the font to the front, you want to back, if it is overlapping, then font should be first or the diagram should be first, or diagram should be first or font should be next. Font should be above, send under the object. Bring text to font, whatever the text you are typing, make it as a font. So all those things with everything related to font you can find here in this one. So we have completed draw, we have completed modify, we have completed the annotation here. Okay, now we will learn about layers. So this is a layers tab. So in this layer tab we have layer properties, you have all these in this layer. So whenever you click any layer, you can add all those things. So you can choose the number of layer settings to make your drawing. Okay, so we'll start with the layers. So I'm clicking a layer. Okay, so whenever I click a layer, so this is the default, the name is 0, and you can see that I will maximize. So you can see that first one is on or off, next one is freeze, next one is lock, next one is plot, which type of plot, next is color, line type, line weight. Okay, transparency, whether you can see it or not, whether new plane freeze or not, you can give any description or not. So whenever I draw anything on the AutoCAD screen, so it is on so that I can see it. Freeze is nothing but it cannot move, so it is off. So whenever I select anything and if I make the freeze on, so because it is the current layer, you cannot make the current layer as frozen, because you are working on it, it will be moved from one place to other place. You can't make it as a freeze. Okay, you can create a new layer and then you can make. So these are the options: new layer, new layer in VP frozen in all the viewports. And if you want to delete anything, you can delete layer, all those things. You want to set this as current. Okay, so I'm creating a new layer. So generally this is not required, so I'm creating a new layer. I can give the name as layer 1 or my own. I can make that whether it is on or off. I can make that it is freeze or not. I can make that it is lock or not. Whenever it is locked, you can't do anything. The complete layer is locked. Okay, plot already we seen how to take the printout, all those things, what is the orientation, all those things we have seen. Next, color. If you want to change for the new color, directly I can click, I can select any color. Okay, and I want to select the line type. I can click the line type. So initially it is solid line, so I have to click on load. Then I can select anything. It is in the alphabetical order. So if I want to select C, nothing but the center line, then I will select one. I will enter the on the keyboard, I will enter C. So this is the center. So this is the center maximum with exact length. If I want to reduce it, I can make it as 0.5. If I want to increase it, I'll make it as 2. So depend upon my wish whether I want very smaller lines or very large line, depend upon your sheet size. Okay, and dashed lines, zigzag lines, divide, dots, fence, hidden lines. Hidden lines is also very important. So whenever you can't see any line, you have to select the hidden line. Okay, so we'll discussing all these lines, and phantom and zigzag. So these are the things we generally use as line. So I want to add the center line, so I have to select the C, middle center. So I'll select 0.5. Okay, so whatever I am drawing any line in the layer 1, if I made this layer 1 as active, so whenever I draw anything by the layer line, it should be like this. I'll click OK, so that continuous line has been changed to center line. Okay, so whenever if I make this as active, whenever I draw I this one. So if I want to change color, I'll select the white and I'll go for any darker color. I'll click OK. So whatever I draw, that line will be like this. And line weight. So line weight is nothing but how much is the thickness of the line. Generally I give 0.5 or 0.4. So I'll give 0.4 and click OK. So if I draw anything, it will be in blue color. Line type will be center line and line weight will be 0.4. So I have to make it as set current. So right click and set current, or else there is option above, make it as set current. So you can see the green color tick mark. So if I click any line or polyline, so you can see that it is a blue color line with the center line, you can see. Okay, so this is about, you can change. Generally we don't use layer properties. Generally we click here, I'm closing this layer properties. Then I'll click here, right click, and we directly go for properties, and here we can change back by block, and we can change layer type. I want to change the layer type to 0. Initially it was 0, so I'm changing as 0. So all the 0 position, you can see initially it was a center line, it has changed to continuous line by defining the layer. If you define the layer by this thing, everything will be changed. Okay, all the things, it is layer 1. Okay, so if I want to make any of the line, this line, I'll select this line. This line default layer is 0. Just if I click as layer 1, automatically it will change. It will change to color. And if you want to, generally it has line thickness. If you are not seeing any line thickness, this is called the LW display. It will show or hidden the line weight. Okay, you can see all those things by using this one. Okay, so this is the most important of layer. So you can set any of your layer, and you can freeze, you can lock, unlock, anything. Initially this is the current layer, I'll make it as 0 layer. So whenever I draw anything, it will become as a 0th layer. Okay, there are approximately 256 layers you can create. You can't create more than 256 layers. Okay, so this is about layers. Generally we don't do anything in the layers. We don't generally use these options in the layers. So directly we will be selecting this line, any line, right click and go for properties, and we change manually. So if I want a color, I'll change color as red. If I want any line type, I'll change you need to load all the line types. So if you load line type, then only you can see the load this line type. Line weight, default it is, I want to change any line weight. Okay, so all those things I can see here. Okay, so generally we don't use layers. That we right click the object and we perform the object. Okay, so I'm undoing everything. Okay, so this is about the layer concept. So I need to go back to 0th layer. Okay, next insert. So next is the block. So whenever we want to group anything, we will be making as insert block, and we'll be making it as a one block. If we join 2 or 3, it will make as the block. Next we can create the block, we can edit the block, we want to add anything, we want to remove anything, we can make by using this block. Okay, so suppose I want to create a block, I'll select the block. It will ask the pick the base point. If you want to give any name, suppose REC example, and then you click OK. Then you have to select this object. So initially this has different lines. If you make it as one line, it will create as a single block, and you can edit it, and you can also make a single block, multi-block, editing, anything you can use by this block. Okay, next is properties. So whatever you want to change properties, the initial of instead of clicking the line and then right click and select the properties, directly you can change the properties here. Okay, so suppose I want to make this line as any of this one. So here also I can directly give any line weight. I can give any line weight, suppose 0.35 example. I'll on the line transparency. So you can see that the line thickness is increased compared to this one. The line thickness is increased. If I want to increase more, and generally we keep it as 5. So generally we can able to differentiate between one line and another line. Okay, and next is a properties. You can see the which is the line type. So some is center line, hidden lines, all those things. So only center line, block line, container line is there. I can click on load here. I can make it as hidden line. Suppose I want to make it as hidden line, 0.5 of hidden line. Okay, so like that I can add anything. So directly for this line I want to make it as hidden line. So directly I can select it. I'll make it as hidden line. Okay, so you can see that it is clearly hidden. So this is the properties. And suppose this one, if I want to give any color, so I can select this one, I'll give any of my required color. Okay, and next important is the match properties. So I have some properties for this line. Same line I want to transfer to another line. So I'll select this object. Then first I will select the object, then I'll click on match properties, then I'll select any other object. So whichever the object I'm selecting, it will transfer to that one, whether the dimension, whether the any inclined line, all those lines can be made. Whether any arc I want to make, arc dimension, any dimension, it will be making. This rectangle also it will be made by using this one. So I'll show this one. I want to make this line as this one, so I'll select this one, it will show. So all the destination is completed, then you have to click, once again I'll explain, click on match property. It will add the source object. So this is my source object. So then it will add the destination object. So I'll select the destination object. So just right click, all the properties are transferred from one object to another object by this match property. So this is also very important. General transparency will be 0. In order to view clearly, you have to make the transparency as 0. So next is the group. So generally to create a group, to edit group, all those things you can use this group command. So next, utilities. So utilities, so what utilities generally mean is, so whenever I want to measure anything, okay, I want to measure the distance of it, or else directly I can create the measure just by keeping the point from one point to other point. Right now I'm not giving any dimension, then I can know what is the distance of it. Okay, so directly we can click on measure. I can select any of the point and any of the point. So this is not the actual dimension. Okay, you can just for knowing purpose what is the distance. So if I click here, it will show that the angle is 120 degrees, vertical distance is 56.23, inclined distance is 64.8496, and from this point to vertical and horizontal distance is 32.3056. So generally if you give dimension, you are seeing only this dimension or this dimension. Other dimension, angles and all those things you can't see by using this one. So this is one of the also important utilities. So next is the another important is the point shell. So already we discussed what is meant by p type. So here we can click and we can change our what is the style we are viewing the point. Okay, and one more important utility is the calculator. So directly you can click on quick calculator, so that if you want to calculate anything, suppose 2 pi r, if you want to calculate 2, then pi, suppose the r is suppose 50 mm, then directly you will be, I have to give the multiplication symbol. So 2 into, so 2 into pi into r, suppose I'm taking as 30, then I can directly generate the what is the value I can generate. It is 188.49495. I can round it off, I can make it as 188.5. okay, so depend upon your situation. Directly no need of using taking any calculator to the exam, or having calculator beside when you are practicing or doing anything. Directly you can use the quick calculator. That is the most important utility we can use. And measure already discussed, just click any point and you can see what is the angle, all those things you can see. If you want to, if it is a 2-dimensional, you can see the area. If it's a 3-dimensional, you can see the volume. All those things you can see by using this one. Okay, next, clipboard. If you want to copy any clip, if you want to cut anything, directly you can use Control X for cutting, Control C for copying. I hope everyone know what is meant by cut. If I cut anything at that portion, that object is deleted and paste it anywhere I want. If I copy, I create the duplicate of the object, I can paste Control V. So this is a clipboard. Generally we use keyboard, Control C, Control V. So view, so which view you want to see? You want to see the base, you want to see from model space, you want to see from inventor, you want to see as a metric, you want to see as an inch. Default we give it as AutoCAD ISO, so default it is metric. If you're not giving selecting AutoCAD ISO, then it will ask whether it is an inch or inch system or metric system, it will ask. Okay, so this is about the explanation. Okay, I hope everyone understood. Okay, I'm ending.